So a couple weeks ago, I got the wild hair to try to 3D print a bicycle tool. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna fail? Let's find out in this video. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers, and if you're new to the channel, if you enjoy the non-competitive side of cycling, gravel exploring, bike touring, the supple life, you have found your people, hit that subscribe button. And if you guys want to help the channel grow as well as get some awesome discounts on brands that we truly love, consider supporting the channel via Patreon and PayPal. So if you follow us on Instagram, you know I have been tinkering with 3D printing and learning how to design things on CAD. And one of the things I really wanted to see if I could create was a travel version of this 32mm cone wrench. I know you're thinking, why would you want to do that? Well, recently we did a bike tour in California and I took the velo-orange polyvalent, and as you guys know, it's got a threaded headset, so I needed a tool to remove the stem and everything so I could pack it away. Unfortunately, since they're not as common, it's kind of harder to find a smaller version of this cone wrench. And I fully admit that there would have been more efficient ways to do this, like simply maybe cutting down this tool, but I didn't have access to a shop or tools I would cut tool steel. I know that there are some travel ones out there, but they're usually on eBay, and I just didn't have the time or the patience to go on a treasure hunt. I just wanted to see if I could design it and have it 3D printed. So here's the final tool, and I think what's gonna be interesting about this little project is that it's gonna be a good way to test the tolerances. You know, how close did this gap get to 32mm? I added a little keyhole here for a 6mm Allen key, so we'll see if that fits. And it's also going to be a good test of general strength and if this is even feasible. Again, I am not attached to the success of this tool. This whole little project was more of an experiment, a learning experience to get familiar with how to design things in CAD, you know, to see how they come out in real life when you 3D print them, and to test things like tolerance and strength. I've got my digital calipers here. This is a tool. According to the digital calipers, again, this is supposed to be a 32mm gap. It is coming in at 31.56. Yeah, 31.5 is a measurement I'm getting. So not exactly 32mm, a little bit on the tighter side. But because this is a PLA, it's a plastic material, you can probably sand this down so you can get it closer to 32. I'm gonna compare that to this Pedro's tool and see what their tolerances are. I'm getting about 32.2. So not exactly 32 either, but that margin of error, that tolerance is a little bit less in this as opposed to the 3D printed tool. So next thing I'm going to test is the accuracy of this Allen keyhole here. So in the CAD program, I sketched this out at 6mm. So in theory, it should fit this Allen key. So it's a little snug. And if you guys can see, not quite going in. Oops, just heard a little crack. So I can get a portion of the head in there, but it's a little bit tight. So this tells me a couple things. The 3D printing is gonna get close to what you sketch out, but there's gonna be some fudge room of potentially 0.5 millimeter, which could be significant in some circumstances. Again, good to know. I mean, that's why we do these things, to kind of experiment and see what's possible and what's not such a good idea. Finally, moment of truth. I know you guys have been waiting for this. We're gonna see if I can remove the headset on the velo-orange or if this thing is just gonna explode. So let's go switch to the chesty cam and see what happens. All right, I've got the chesty cam on. This is the tool. This is gonna be pretty absurd. All right, because the tolerances were a little tight, it's a little tricky getting on. There is enough kind of flexibility to move that over it. Okay, so I got the tool on there. Now for the moment of truth, is it strong enough that when I apply the torque, the pressure, that's not just gonna explode? So tool's in there, I'm applying twisting force. Oh no! Oh no! It broke! It broke! No! Oh. Well, here's the tool in terms of whether it worked or it was gonna fail. Clearly, it failed. But regardless of that, I think it was still a pretty fun experiment to do. Again, you know, this is me just trying to learn how to design things in CAD, have them 3D printed, and see what the limits are. So making a headset wrench, while you can get it pretty close in dimension, probably not enough strength to turn the bolt. I did print this in PLA, so this is kind of the most brittle but most common printing material. There are other options like ABS plastic. If you can use websites like Shapeways and actually have your design printed in steel or titanium and other exotic materials. So what did I learn from this experience? First thing, that it's super fun and not as hard as you think to actually learn CAD and design things. It's really extremely gratifying to design something on the computer and hold it physically. Another thing I learned is that there are limits, in terms of tolerances, but also strength. So granted, tool, probably not the best job for 3D printing, but there are lots of applications which I'm hoping to explore more in the channel to see what we can do, what interesting bike doodads we can design and print and share with you guys on the channel. If you guys have any questions about the whole process, leave those in the comments below. And if you like this content, consider supporting the channel. And as always, keep the supple side down.